Stay on after. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to this live episode of Think Business. Looking forward to talking with Matt Deutschman, who is the president of Doubletake Promotional Marketing. It's perfect timing because right now I think a lot of people are asking, what type of holiday gifts do we give our clients? And the people who watch this show are CEOs and leaders and salespeople and managers working for small, medium, large, and just enormous size companies. But I think everybody's asking, and the reason I say that is because everybody's asking, what kind of gift do I get blank, right? And so it's perfect timing, and I'm glad you're on the show, and I appreciate our mutual friend, Justin Breen with Epic, right? Repic, excuse me. Repic Communications introducing us. So Matt, what is, this year is like no other year. So what are people, let's just dive in. I have a quick question. What are people doing for gifts this year that bring that element of, some type of connection with their clients?
Yeah, well, it's a very timely question for sure. It's a normal fourth quarter for us in that we're doing a lot of holiday gifts for clients of ours who send gifts to their clients or their staff. The different wrinkle is that everybody's, working from home. So how to get the gifts to the people is a little bit more challenging, but we have some solutions for how we're obtaining mailing addresses on behalf of our clients and doing all the fulfillment and distribution for them, mailing things directly to their homes. For us, it always starts with, strategic questions to our client to fully understand our client's brand and their recipient. So the gifts are going to vary, but apparel are always great types of options. We're doing a few projects right now involving some branded sweatshirts, jackets, fleeces. We've got a lot of retail brand apparel. I've been in this industry a long time, and I think the old perception of promotional apparel is like the T-shaped T-shirts with like the sleeves where you're, and it's like scratchy like sandpaper. And the industry has come a long way. We've got lots of retail brands and then private label brands that kind of follow retail fashion. So apparel is always a leader, I'd say, with that. But a lot of wine gifts and wine related, send a bottle of wine and a wine opener and a set of coasters, wine glasses. Doing a few projects like that. Yeti tumblers, things like that. So,
how does a company like yours compete with, there's so many more options today, I feel like, than ever before. And because of the social platforms, Instagram specifically, Facebook a little bit, LinkedIn not so much. You have Magnolia Bakery. You have, what's the place? I can't think of the name of the place where you can send corned beef from Carnegie Deli and Gold Belly, right? You can send kind of these clever gifts. But going back to what you guys do is really kind of focusing on strategy, right? They're sending a gift that's clever, and then there's having a strategic element connected to it. So just kind of talk about that. It's kind of like, people say, hey, before you buy Amazon, buy local. Hey, before you just send something that's cool, think strategically.
Right. Well, and that's what it all comes down to. And so first for us, it's knowing our client, and part of that is knowing their clients or knowing their, if they're doing a staff gift, it's knowing, the nature of people who work at their firm, so that the gift is meaningful at the end of the day. We don't want, I was talking to someone yesterday who said, yeah, I've got a closet full of, jackets and promotional items and this and that. And it's like, that's what we want to avoid. We don't want our clients' gifts to be part of that closet full of garbage that is found years later,
Yeah.
So it's about, understanding the recipient. So if anyone out there wants to get me a gift, corned beef is definitely the way to go. I'm glad you brought that up. You got to know your customer. You got to know your audience. Your recipient. Right.
Yeah. But really, we're in the age of custom, right? So let's talk about that. So if I have 100 clients, just for, even, numbers sake, and I know of those 100 clients, I can chunk them up into 10 different groups, and each 10 people really want something, a little bit different. I think customization, value add, understanding the nuances of your people, and all of the details really matter today versus kind of like a staple gift. And so I just want to kind of dive into that as far as it may be a little bit more of an investment, but if you know your cost of the lifetime value of a client, then are you looking at it as an investment or expense? And are you taking the time to strategically plan? So my question is, we'll start from the beginning. How much time should somebody be taking to really kind of sit back, look at their clients, look at their prospects, and strategically plan, really brainstorm and strategically plan on the right gift?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few different, important things that brings up. I think, in terms of how much time, we start reaching out to clients of ours for holiday gift planning in the late summer. And realistically, no one wants to talk about the holidays. And, nobody wants to talk about Christmas gifts in August when it's warm out and everybody's, having fun outside. But that's when, especially for larger firms, that's when the conversation really should start, because it has to be a process of really narrowing down options, especially if there's a large amount of gifts that need to be sent out. Sometimes we're manufacturing things overseas and it could take, several months lead time. But at the very least, what we advocate is for clients to work with someone like us who's an expert in the industry. We've got millions of products at our disposal. We don't ultimately care what products our clients are going to use as long as it's the right product. So our job is to learn as much as we can about our client and their recipients, narrow it down, find whatever product is going to be most effective, and then, ultimately drive ROI. Because as you mentioned, it's about the lifetime value of a client. And choice is big. We're running several projects with clients where we have web stores that we develop, which this goes back to kind of obtaining recipient addresses also, but we can create a web store where a client of ours can share out the link to the store with their recipients. And then they open it up, and it's basically a landing page that we customize with our client's branding, and you can offer a choice of an assortment of gifts, so that at the end of the day, their clients can choose what is most meaningful to them.
It's great. Let's talk about you as a business person, as an entrepreneur. We're seeing a lot of entrepreneurs pop up with people being laid off and people bringing their dreams to kind of life. Talk a little bit about your journey that got you to Doubletake promotional marketing.
Yeah. So I'm fourth generation in my family in this industry.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is, I guess, one of the more common ways to get into this business, to have it in your family. My great-grandfather Paul and my grandfather Maynard founded the Paul May Company back in 1935, manufacturing vinyl office supplies, desk folders, card cases, wallets, things of that nature, all custom imprinted for the promotional products industry. My dad ran the company for 30 plus years, and kind of by happenstance, I worked for my dad for about a year, and then I just got kind of a hankering to get into sales. I originally thought it'd be fun to cold call in person, knock on doors, and try to sell to business owners. So that's how I kind of got started. And when I started to really gain traction, it was really through developing strategic partnerships and developing my professional network. That was much more impactful than driving around my hometown in New York, knocking on doors of businesses and grabbing business cards everywhere I could find them and cold calling people.
What was the biggest obstacle you've had in the last 9 months since COVID, and how have you overcome it?
It's been a topsy-turvy year for everyone, but for us in particular. When COVID first hit in March, a lot of our clients were just in triage mode. There wasn't a lot going on. For most of March, April, and May, there wasn't a lot of activity with our clients, and instead we found ourselves in this unique position where we recognize that there's this massive need for masks and PPE worldwide. And I've got suppliers of mine that had retooled their manufacturing, especially overseas production, to make medical grade masks and whatnot. And they're emailing me. I'm watching the news and there's these shortages all over the place. I'm saying, where's the disconnect here? So we actually facilitated production of a lot of masks and did that at really just our cost, just to facilitate them to where they needed to go.
Yeah.
Spent a lot of time doing that. And then over the summer, things really started to bounce back, first with a lot of branded PPE kits. We work a lot with the higher ed market. So a lot of our college and university clients, in order to put together their plan for reopening in the fall, they needed to purchase adequate, masks and hand sanitizer and other PPE items to supply their students and staff to reopen safely. So we started doing a lot of that, and since then it's been a little bit more normal.
Yeah. What were some of the key things you learned from your dad and your grandpa?
From my dad, I learned a lot. So when I first started my company, my dad was kind of transitioning out and selling his business. So we never were in business at the same time. But I started my business when I still lived with my parents in my early 20s, and started my business at my desk I used to do my homework on in high school. So my dad and I would just talk, even just the littlest things. My dad and I would talk about just nonstop, just minor things like supplier relations and cash flow and customer service. And it was like, he was such an amazing resource. Anytime I had a question, my dad was there for me. I think in some ways, the biggest thing I learned from my dad, though, just to kind of distill it down, was to relax, to not make every situation life or death. I used to have a really bad temper, and I would let that kind of bleed into my work life, and took everything personal. Every business situation I looked at as a reflection on me and my reputation, my ability to come through, and I took that very personally, and I've really my dad encouraged me to just kind of relax and not take everything so personally.
Did you ever read The Four Agreements?
No.
You got to read that book. It'll be your new favorite book.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm writing it down.
Yeah. Buy it today. You'll love it. It's a game changer book based on what you just talked about. And it will, I think I've read it probably 8 times. And every time I read it, I think, how did I miss this part? How did I miss this part? How did I miss this part? Because you read it, every time you read the book, you're going to be at most likely be at a higher consciousness. And so as you've kind of grown as a business leader through the years, through the decades, through COVID, what are you more conscious about now as you move forward than you were yesterday?
When I started my company, and for the first several years in business, I had created a job for myself. I didn't create a business. I didn't have a business plan. I didn't have I wasn't thinking of it that way. I was just thinking, I'll give this a shot and see where it goes. Yeah. And so everything kind of happened organically. And even 5 years in, I was doing everything, wearing all the hats, and had no systems in place. It wasn't until I had my first child that I really, I should say my wife had our first child, but that's when I really started to focus on creating systems in the business so that I'd be able to separate myself and spend a lot of time with my family. And so over the last few years, I've really focused a lot more on creating systems in the business and building out a team. And so I think, just in terms of what I focus on today that I didn't focus on yesterday or in the past, is really being a team leader and a motivator, and setting an example for my team, and empowering my team to lead our company forward, rather than trying to do everything and be a perfectionist and take ownership of every single thing within the company.
Yeah. Is your team a team that's in an office, or is it a virtual team?
We've been virtual since I hired my first employee about 4.5 years ago. So,
and how is that working? I mean, because you've been virtual, pre-COVID, and so how have you grown your team and inspired them and done all of that while virtual?
Yeah, it's been interesting. We're a team of 4, including myself, and I hired our newest member of our team, Bethany, in March 9th was her first day. So her week of onboarding, she flew in, she lives in Rhode Island. I'm here in Chicago. She flew in for onboarding that week. And that was like the week that every day there was another major national event that was canceled. And we were just kind of like, get back to Rhode Island as quickly as possible and let's see what happens. But we stayed the course. I'm so glad that I did that. Sticking to that plan and keeping her on board was the single best business decision I've made this year, because she has really rounded out our team and we've become very tight knit, and we're really well poised for continued growth now as a result. I think the biggest things that we do to stay tight knit as a remote team are we have scheduled team calls or team meetings every Monday and Friday typically. Yeah. And on Mondays, we set forth our goals for the week. We also have a period of time where we offer up any projects that we're looking for for collaboration on. Anything that, any other ideas we're looking for, we try to really help one another out and collaborate. And then on our Friday calls, we always have recaps of goals from the week so that we can hold one another accountable. We share wins from the week, so that we're always ending the week on a positive note, and we each share something that we're grateful for. It could be business related, it could be personal, but just something, an expression of gratitude, and that has really brought us together much closer as a team. Just kind of hearing what one another have shared in that segment every week. That's something that's been a big plus for us.
And what I love about you're talking about, it's about consistency. It's about staying, connected with everybody and effective communication. And it's great. I'm virtual. My company's almost 6 years old. I have about 7-8 virtual people that are all best of class that work with me. I couldn't do it without them. And it's great. It's great. It's great. They're all over the country. We talk when we need to. And everybody kind of runs off of a system and a process. And I'm loving it. Well, I think it's great. I want to get back to the business now. Real quickly. And for all of those people, as we sit here, it's December 9th. People will be listening to this after December 9th. But if you're listening to this any time of the year, right, it's not just, you don't just need promotional items in December, right? I mean, we're talking holiday giving, but really it's about growing your brand all year and doing it in a way that keeps you in front of your clients. And so when you're looking at a 1-year kind of strategy when it comes to branding, talk about how companies should be thinking about that, and how you strategically work with them on that as well.
It's a really good question. And I was having kind of a mini debate with someone just yesterday about this, who said that, the holidays are the worst time to give gifts because you're getting kind of lost in the shuffle of everybody else's gift. Everybody's doing it around now. You should be doing stuff all, in February and April, whatever, and I agree 100% with that. Today's December 9th. People who call me today, especially this year, all the shipping carriers are overloaded. They're at max capacity or over max capacity and having a tough time even guaranteeing deliveries by the holidays, even if something were to ship today. So, I'm in the mode now of calming our clients or our prospective clients, removing some of that anxiety and saying, look, if it's not delivered by Christmas, it's okay. Why don't we do something that's more of a refresher right off the bat in the new year to kind of kick off the new year with something branded. I think that the key ultimately is doing something. I think we all understand the value of our existing of showing appreciation to our existing clients, staying top of mind with our existing clients. So something that we say that we do is we turn clients into referral sources.
Yeah.
And that's the ultimate goal with this. So it's absolutely something that there should be a strategy built around. A lot of the time we find that in the advertising space, promotional products is sort of the, like, whatever's remaining in the budget we'll devote to some swag. But instead, I think that, it's a component of the bigger marketing picture. And we really view ourselves as a marketing services provider, and we have the full marketing discussion with our clients. We want to know everything they're doing for their marketing and ensure that what we're doing from a promotional standpoint interplays well with the entire marketing strategy. Yeah.
I love what you're talking about. I mean, it's, marketing is key, branding is key, morphing all that all together is so important. Having a strategy, pre-planning, I agree with you, 2021, taking time to look at it on a quarter by quarter basis. So important. I love everything you're doing and everything that you talk about, and people need it, and companies need to invest in it. And what I love about what you're talking about is, there's websites that you can buy things, but it really requires that extra idea, that extra piece of strategy, that extra thought, that extra question to make you think about what you're doing before you spend the money. So the strategic partner in what you do, I think, like anything, is so critical. The mentorship, the guidance, what works, what doesn't work. Because I think sometimes people try to save money, but then they don't bring the punch and the value add that's really needed if they just brought on an extra set of eyes as a strategic partner. So kudos for what you're doing. Matt, you ready for a quick speed round?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Favorite book and why?
East of Eden by John Steinbeck. Steinbeck's my favorite author. He could bring life to the most mundane scene, and that's just an epic novel of his that it's just all throughout.
It's great. Best piece of wisdom you ever received?
Wow. I know it's supposed to be a speed round. Best piece of wisdom is to try to learn something from every relationship you have.
Yeah.
Even if it's a bad relationship, even if it's someone you don't get along with, learn something, whether it be even just something about yourself or something about relationships in general. Learn something from everybody.
One piece of advice you give somebody graduating college right now?
Get business experience. Try to get experience working for a business and doing something entrepreneurial, because there are so many unintended benefits of that will just be exponential in whatever field you wind up going into.
I love it. And last question. One important thing that everybody needs to remember about branding.
Have a strategy. Don't wing it, and don't leave it to your own devices if you're not a branding expert.
I love it. Tell everybody who your ideal clients are, how they can get a hold of you, and where they can contact you.
Ideal clients, we work primarily with companies in the professional services and financial services industries, advertising and marketing industries. We partner with a lot of advertising agencies and marketing firms for work on behalf of their clients. And then we do a lot with higher ed, so a lot of colleges and universities.
Right.
Best way to get in touch with me is either on LinkedIn. Not a lot of Matt Deutschmans out there.
Yeah.
And then our website is makethemlooktwice.com. Our tagline at Doubletake Promotional Marketing is "Make Them Look Twice," and that's also our website.
That's great. Well, Matt, I appreciate you being on the show and talking about branding and the importance of marketing, and most importantly, the importance of strategy being the umbrella of all of that. I think it's so important for everybody. And I hope what people get from this conversation is that strategy matters, because to get them to look once, you can do it yourself. To get them to look twice, you need a strategic partner.
I love that. I might use it.
So thank you to everybody who's listening. Thank you very much. If Matt can help you, reach out to him. Matt, thanks, man. I appreciate you being on the show today.
My pleasure. Thank you very much. Good talking to you.